Just like that, we live.
Yo.
We live. And
We
if you
live
notice,
at it.
Dave, we've not hit you with the who's fighting intro flamethrower, but just such a weekend of action that we just wanted to we it was just we wanted to just start it off. Let's start it off.
We coming out swinging.
Just
We're
right
coming out
into
swinging.
Just like the boy.
it.
Just like the wow, man. Fellas,
We
how was
showing
your
up.
weekend? How was your fight weekend, and how was your weekend, personal weekend?
Electric.
Electric.
Yeah, weekend was smooth, man. Smooth. Good fight weekend. Early. We got an early start, so we didn't have to be up late on Saturday night waiting on the main event. But they did drag it out.
Yeah, they did.
I actually started watching the movie in between the co-main event and the headline. So
I'm not even gonna pretend like I watched the undercard. That was nap time for me.
yeah.
Yeah. Before we get into the actual fight, did you see the people that were out that night? From
Everybody, Terrence Crawford,
Terrence Crawford,
McGregor,
McGregor,
Devin Haney
Fury,
siding.
corner Ben with the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did somebody say McGregor? McGregor was there?
McGregor was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was with his cigar and just acting belligerent, but that's him.
He said he's fighting next year. He said he's fighting next year. So
record attendance too. So
90,000.
96.
96. Crazy.
96,000.
I see why they don't want to come to the States and fight. I see it. It makes sense.
I wish I could be a British fighter.
they have
stadium.
Yeah.
Come on.
Did you see corner Ben calling out Shakur Steven and no, sorry, Shakur, Haney, and what else did he call out? He called out Ebanks Jr. It's a video going around, and I'm like, corner Ben is the truth, but he had these PED allegations, and he just left that picture of people prospects in that division. But he was
there's
out.
There's a lot of side stories coming out from this weekend. It was a DAZN, DAZN promotion, and who else is it? Queensbury.
Queensbury, Matchroom.
All of that.
Yeah. I like seeing the collaboration though. Like I'm happy to see that. Like, you used to hear the conversations other side of the street, and this and that. Like, come on, man. Professional fighting, entertainment. Give us what we want.
Money.
Get this money, man. There's enough out there for all the sides.
That was kind of zesty.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say we're leading on to October that Riyadh is taking over the fight? Riyadh season is taking over the fight game, both MMA and boxing. Like,
yeah,
the numbers they're putting out, they do in LA. They did some numbers in LA. Now they're in the UK. They did numbers in the UK. Is it fair to say that's the new powerhouse, the new juggernaut?
Ooh, I'm gonna put my brakes on that one.
Who's challenging as far as like putting on these big events? That would be my question.
They still don't have the biggest names. They do have big names. They don't have Canelo fighting under their promotion.
I mean, but Riyadh wants to put on good competitive fights. So
yeah,
slugs, right? Like it's just call it what it is.
Right. Right.
So if you're looking at that, I mean, I feel like Riyadh season is putting on consistent quality events. And I've been able to learn about some of these fighters overseas by tuning in some of the undercards as well. They seem to have elite talent in their own right. So I'm all for it. I'm just like, who's challenging that type of promotion? They got Crawford on the card. We were potentially going to have a Fury Joshua fight. That's scrap, but it would have been under that promotion card. It's consistent, and that's all you want as a fight fan. That's all you want.
Yeah, the big matchups.
So without further ado, let's jump into
Let's get with it.
How do you start on this one, man?
We got to come on. We jumping out.
Not like how do we start?
How do you begin on this fight? Like, how do you as LT was there? I had a long monologue about this fight before the fight. I went on dare I say, a 10-minute, verbal jousting of how Joshua is killing his legacy with these sideshows. It's not a Dubois is not a sideshow. I'm sorry. I was
Absolutely.
wrong.
Yeah, can we hold on a second? He was
Yeah.
the
The
belt holder.
yeah, he was a belt
He
holder.
was the champion. Joshua was
Yeah.
actually the challenger. So
Yeah.
it's like this was the path.
Yeah.
Now that in retrospect, when we look back at it.
I was wrong. I was wrong. I felt like, just as an eager fan, first of all, I'm a boxing fan before anything. I wanted to see this Fury fight before both of them turned 38 years old, and they don't have that energy in their tank, But again, boxing will remind you that it's a dangerous sport. Styles, styles dictate fights, and I was rudely awakened from round one. I don't know
Yeah.
about you fellas. I didn't think any other direction than how it went in round 5.
Man,
First off, hold on, let
man.
me ask this. Because I was curious as to me and Cam seen the same thing. I'm curious as to what does AJ usually fight at these days?
Right. And I
Like, what is his
thought
weight?
he came in a little heavy. I feel like he was coming. Well, I feel like Ngannou he was a little heavier, but I think he was trying to match the size. But other than that, I really feel like he had been coming in the 240 range, and I believe he was 250 plus coming into this fight.
And so let's history repeat itself, because we seen how he came in against Ruiz, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
And that was some
right.
years back. So he corrected it. But he was also even before that, like we seen him as a Adonis. He slimmed down, like
Mhm.
stopped hitting the weights as heavy, and had more of a slim physique for his stature, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
And I don't know, is it age catching up with him? Is the training camps getting harder? What is it? Because you and I both noticed that his arms looked very heavy.
Yeah.
They were extremely low, like
Yeah.
amateurs, as far as the type of mistakes he made in this fight. Ultimately the knockout, the final right hand by Dubois. Josh was throwing a right uppercut from distance without any type of setup shot in between. And to me, I just felt like that was a very low IQ punch to make it that opportunity when you already down big on the scorecard. You had to knock them out, but that comes more methodically. It doesn't happen, you don't get them all in one point. It's like basketball. You don't go down 30 and make it all up in one possession. You gotta chop that tree down, which I felt like he obviously has the power to do so, but it just let me know, like, it's coming in, like his body language, the punch selection, what he was doing with his hands. I felt like it's just somebody that really just teases us consistently with, I think Joshua is going to be, coming out here and doing what we feel like he should always have been, is a great boxer, a great champion. And we ultimately were kind of let down, but we did see a great performance by Dubois. At the same time, who looked hungry, who looked ready, and looks dangerous.
Yeah.
Ready for more.
Yeah. That the old saying, styles make fights. It's a very repeated statement, and sometimes
True,
it becomes just just a word that is used, but it's facts. From round 1, I could see Joshua struggling to find his range with Dubois, and failing to find his range, and Dubois looking very busy. Those hooks were just connecting. He was like Jodeci in the singing. He was hooking it out, man, doing them hooks, man. It was crazy. And Joshua was just not finding his range. When he was trying to find his range, he was missing his punches. It looked like Dubois, like you guys talked about his weight or his reaction, looked like Dubois was just a fraction of a second faster. And the uppercuts, Joshua has a devastating uppercut. Those were just missing Dubois. And how engaging Dubois was with the inside fighting, and just, I think he knocked him down in the first too, had him on his knee.
Yeah.
Just some.
It was at the end of the first.
Yeah, end of the first.
Closing moments of the round.
Around 3 or 4 times. It looked like either he was hurt in the first round, and that kind of put him in defense mode or just natural instinct, like, hey, survive, because
Absolutely.
he was not the typical Joshua who's methodic, who knows how to, you know, fight a fighter. And Dubois did expose technical insufficiencies that Joshua has. And
Strap,
yeah,
he was damaged goods from the gate. Like,
yeah,
it's the old Mike Tyson saying, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
right.
Yeah.
And he got caught in the first round. And so then it's
You-
the whole second round is, can he regain his legs? You
Can
know,
he survive?
can he
Survive the round.
survive? Right,
Yeah.
survive the round. And so he's trying to. There's instances where he's trying to grapple and grab, and he's getting caught trying to come in there. And so everything that we expected coming into it was straight out the window from the opening round.
Yeah, right.
He never recovered from the initial shot, which makes you question, like, you know, he's been down several times in his career. And we talked about on previous episodes, like, these guys sometimes get old overnight. And I feel like I've kind of bought into some of the fool's gold from his previous 4 fights, which ultimately had no implications on the rankings in the heavyweight division. And he looked good against those opponents, but as soon as he was touched in this one, it was immediately, we all saw it. We were like, oh, this don't look good for Joshua.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
On the turnaround, can we give Dubois his flowers now for
Absolutely.
you know?
Oh, he's knocked down. He put Joshua on his butt, and I really feel like that body shot against Usyk landed. That shot landed flush and clean to the body.
Yeah.
But in
And
the
so
fifth
he's
round,
showing you.
go ahead,
He's
finish.
showing you, but no, he's showing you that he belongs to be there. He's dangerous, and he's not going anywhere. He looked very determined, looked very strong, and his condition looked amazing.
Yeah.
Let's compare them real quick. How does Dubois compare to a prime Wilder? Because neither of them were real polished fighters. Both have dangerous power, which automatically makes them viable in the heavyweight division. So how would you compare those two? Prime Joshua, prime Wilder versus this Dubois we've seen.
I think Dubois sets more traps. I will see him setting traps. Wilder has a nuke in his right hand that I've never seen in my life. I've never seen somebody jump and punch, not sit on a punch. He's a heavyweight. You're supposed to sit on those punches. He knocked out people with both legs in the air. That's just power that is undescribable.
Yeah.
You'll never see anything like Wilder because it wasn't tactical. It wasn't technique. It was just somebody that just has some equalizer on his right hand. And he learned how to set up people and set traps to get you to where you could land flush, but he grazed people and knocked them out. Remember, I don't think Dubois is similar to that fighter. Dubois is more, what's the word here? He's more of a methodic. He doesn't. They both don't use the jab. Now that Wilder works with Malik Scott, he uses the jab more. But in the past, Wilder never worked the jab.
Right.
I would say still. I mean, he still doesn't. But what we see Dubois he's a boxer puncher.
He doesn't.
A fighter from the UK is very a classic style. You're just going to have to beat this guy and be better than him because he has an engine. He has the size. He has the strength to impose his will a little bit. So you know, compare those two fighters. You know, I would take Dubois being able to maybe withstand the right hand, you know, maybe just a little bit.
We're talking about prime. We're talking about Mark Braylon Wilder, not Malik Scott Wilder.
Look,
I'm just talking comparing them stylistically because, like you pointed out, like
right.
Yeah, neither one of them going to give you any jab work. You know what I'm saying?
Look, the first time we've seen Dubois really consistent with the jab, he's snapping Joshua's head back yesterday. And I'm like, oh, this is not look good. I mean,
did you think
he got something?
Did you think in the fifth round what did you think when Joshua put on his last hurrah?
Oh, I was shocked. I actually woke my son up. I was like, oh, I had him in my hand, but what I did not like to see was that he was rushing it. He was trying to get it all back in that round. and he ultimately made a mistake and got put on his ass, or put on his face actually. And before that, he's sticking his tongue out in the crowd. I don't know who he's talking to in the corner.
I saw that,
but I thought that was, that was a little weird. To me, mentally though, with Joshua, this fight, it was a lot of weird energy he was putting forth into the fight. Like he came in looking,
bravado.
Yeah, he came in looking laser focused, but it just was a grand entrance, and then he just,
flat performance.
What his down his leg.
Hey, I'll give this is where I really want to give Dubois his credit, was his patience.
Yes,
having an opponent reeling from start to finish, but knowing not, respecting the power still, that when this guy is wounded is when he's at his most dangerous. And so being in full control, but not allowing yourself to get caught up in the emotion of the arena, because I'm sure people were calling for him to finish it, but he waited until the exact moment, and when it was over, I knew it was over.
He was on his back foot, which, he's retreating and throws the right hand, so it lets you know he's on his game.
And like, it's also telling, like, watching that 5th round and how the events folded. AJ looked like he was picking up momentum, and he looked like he had Dubois. It looked like and Dubois was like a wounded animal backing. And that's a dangerous situation. You have to be very careful how you break down a wounded fighter, because now they're fighting for their life. And that's how he landed on that punch. Like, you went into an attack, you got not giddy, but you got excited, and you were just driving in, and you all foot on the gas pedal, and got caught with one, and that's all she wrote. But to sum up that fight, for me personally, it's something that we have to respect and appreciate boxing for, especially everybody that was talking crap about Dubois, including myself, saying you don't belong in the same ring as Wilder, and because what happened with him and Joe Joyce, him getting him and Joyce, and him getting KO'd by Usyk and all that stuff. And I was like, yo, you don't deserve to. Yeah, boxing is it's just not a regular sport. Anything can happen at any time. And
they were calling him a quitter. He was you could have argued that it was justified because of in the fashion that he ultimately took a knee against Usyk.
And we forget how young he is. Like,
for his first loss at that.
We forget how young he is. He's been around for a while, and we forget it. And I went back to see, he's like 26, 27. He's been around for a long time. We've seen a lot of Dubois. And hey, he came out. Did you notice his walkout? Did it remind you of somebody? It was cringe. I won't lie to you. The Mike Tyson, all black.
Oh, I liked it. I feel like that fit his demeanor though.
Did he have the towel over his head too?
Well, he had the poncho. It was like a
cut off
custom
and
made.
The black shoes of Mike Tyson. I'm like, bro, just do your own thing. Like,
you can pay respect to the greats, but ultimately what he performed, he came in to handle his business. He wasn't with no hoopla or nothing like that. Like, even the pre-fight promotion with Joshua, when they were sitting down with Eddie Hearn and their promoters, Joshua, big boy in the room, try to start a little scuffle, and Dubois just responded, and to see that he came into the ring to handle his business. So you can wear the poncho and wear the all black. To me, if you really coming in to handle your business, then which is what he did. He was playing no games with Joshua.
So I did want to point out that there is a rematch clause. They were pointing at a December fight date, but the very last image of Joshua as he's attempting to get up, I just want to point that out, because boxing has this thing where they suspend you, you should suspend you for 6 months, and it's for your health. What did y'all take away from that moment?
I'm not really feeling a rematch, even though they probably will have that rematch. I really feel like there's a lot of other fights that can be made in the division. You know, we talked a little bit before about Bukoli. That's a potential matchup. You know, you got Jarrell Miller who lost to Dubois, and then you got Big Baby who's lost to Bukoli. You still got Fury out there, and Usyk is still out there. So I'm not really feeling a rematch for this because I don't really feel like Josh was trending in a way that lets me feel like, hey, he's worthy of. Let me not say that. I just don't feel like he's going to show us anything new in a rematch.
This is what I will say. They set a record attendance, so there's always that.
Yep.
And then you look back at the rematch against Andy Ruiz, and I don't know if you want to compare a Ruiz to a Dubois as far as being, you know, the footwork, but you know, Joshua was able to come back, work the jab. He was in much better shape, and it was night and day performance. So it's like you said, he teases us with these great performances, and then he comes back, and when we expect him, you know, to perform at his height, he gives us this letdown, these flat performances. So
right.
Yeah, Joshua, like, it's one of those like if we really, because we're prisoners of the moment. I'm the prisoner of the moment. But if we look at it from a distance, Joshua's really only lost to 3 people. One of them he lost twice, and that's Usyk. He's lost to Andy Ruiz and then Double D or Triple D, Daniel Dubois, Dynamite Dubois, and yeah, that's it. So in perspective, he should have more cachet to have more big fights or even have that rematch clause because he revenged one of his losses with Andy Ruiz. It wasn't as successful with Usyk, but his second go around was a more competitive fight, and you could see he fixed up where he got demolished in the first fight, right? But he could not figure out the jigsaw who was Usyk, who was just had more boxing prowess and ability. So I wouldn't dust it. I wouldn't dust the idea of a rematch and not want to watch it. But really, like what Kam said, there are other more interesting fights that would be better for heavyweight boxing.
It's the matter of which he lost. Because as fans, we can see competitive back and forth, which we didn't feel like we really saw. He got clipped in the first round, so maybe he's in the rematch. He doesn't get clipped in the first round. He's able to have better legs in the rounds moving forward. You know, they have to be determined. But I think the thing for me is once you see Joshua when he rose to fame beating a Klitschko, I don't feel like we've ever saw that type of, you know, that grit, that determination that we saw since then. That was back in 2017. So it's like we're chasing this ghost of a fighter that may not ever return. And that's something that me as being a fan of Joshua, you know, we're looking at. But then don't get it twisted. I really enjoy watching Dubois fight. I was really confused by the loss to Usyk just because of the knee, but he's shown you know, high level heavyweight contention, and he's a champ right now. So you got to give him the respect, and they got to come see him.
Yeah.
So I think if this is right, it says Fury and Usyk that rematch is in February.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
I haven't heard like dates, timelines for that one.
Oh wait,
it sound like
no, that's the last one.
Probably new.
Okay. It sounded like they wanted to make a Joshua Fury fight.
Yeah, that was the goal. Usyk, they fight in December 21st in Riyadh. They fight in Saudi Arabia. Usyk versus
that part.
Fury.
Okay, there we go.
Gotcha. So we'll get Dubois and we'll get a Dubois Joshua rematch, and then we get a Usyk Fury rematch before the year is up.
Yep. I would say with like I think Kam was leading on to this. There was supposed to be the Grandio fight, the big money fight in the UK, which is Fury Joshua. And I don't know if you've seen that clip going around where Fury's like pissed off that this dude lost the fight. He was like scratching his head. He's like, there goes 150 million down the drain.
Look.
Usually you don't talk about
Turkey.
money in front of a life. You could see was genuine. Like, yo, there goes my money. Like
generational money right there.
He was waiting for that cash out. I think that was his retirement plan, probably. Because it's like, yo, look at my money. Like, look at my money going down the drain.
There were some stunned faces. Turkey being one of them. Sitting ringside, he was not pleased with the performance by Joshua.
Like, yo, look at this payout going down the drain. But
that's why we love the sport, though.
I still think there's a payout there. There's a payout there.
What does Dubois need to do? What does Dubois need to do for his marketability?
He's got to talk, man. He's on the microphone. I
don't think he has it, man. I don't think he has it. He's if he was a Terrence Crawford and he had elite skill, we'll give him a pass because Terrence Crawford don't talk like that.
That part.
I don't think he has it. Either you have to have one of the. It's unfair to say either you have to have a promoter that does it for you, like Eddie Hearns does it for AJ, because AJ don't have it too. He's just. Maybe the aesthetics of AJ get him.
It's the aesthetic.
But he has a lot of brand partnerships that will carry him if he decides to box or not.
Muscle milk.
Right. You know, the modeling with Dubois, he has to continue to knock guys out. That's his ticket to whatever brand that want to associate themselves with him to increase.
I'm gonna tell you what, if he bald, he might get him a nice little razor blade brand. You know what I'm saying?
Is that enough though? Because I remember when we were young,
brothers.
Remember when we were young, the Klitschko's were not making more money than Mayweather. The smaller fighter was making more money than the Klitschko's. The heavyweight was not making money with the Klitschko's. Remember?
Yeah, having fights in Ukraine is not the same as having fights in the United Kingdom.
So you think he's
still? Tell you what, let's get my man a Carmex sponsorship. He got some soup coolers.
He also stutters, like one of his issues. He stutters. He's not.
I mean, he could be an advocate. So
I mean, Mike Tyson had a list, and he still was marketable.
Hey, that's crazy,
the most marketable person.
Look, you keep knocking guys out. Hey, those things will come, and that's what he's done. When he wins, he's knocking guys out. So with him being the new British boxing face, 96,000 people came out, and they were a part of it.
Yeah,
at Wembley.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar.
He's got to be close.
I'm not too familiar with British products, but somebody over there is jumping on the bandwagon.
Heavyweight.
One thing Dubois needs to do is not to stop wearing them weird ass goofy suits. He'll be all right after.
Look, that's all right over there.
He dresses up like Sean Porter. Like, I'm like, what the hell are you wearing?
Nah. Give the boy his respect, man. He looked a lot sharper than Sean Porter. He's the most.
I love Sean Porter.
He's an all-time horrible portrait of the tie knot that he wears is like it's shocking. I love
you, Sean Porter, but them suits is crazy.
Nah, man, I'm not a fan of that at all. Terrible. Terrible.
So hopefully, I guess we're gonna anticipate a 2025 Usyk Dubois rematch if Usyk is still fighting. I got my doubts about it. Well, I'll tell you what. The only thing is that Dubois has that belt, and I think Usyk has the motivation to maybe one final unification, or undisputed. Maybe one final undisputed matchup. And
who's the last?
You think he's close? He's close to hanging it up, though.
I personally do. That's just my opinion. I mean, we look at all those guys that come from that lineage and that long, tedious amateur career. Lead up to the pro. So that's just me looking, opining.
We're at the end. We're at the tail end of it, regardless. If it's next year or the year after that, we're gonna see a handful of fights.
And then
at the max.
But check it out. I mean, when we talking big money and we talking pound for pound, I mean, let's say he fights Dubois and then I don't know, maybe he goes down to goes down to light heavyweight, and maybe we can see. I don't know. Hey.
Look, that's where he came from. But now you have to see more of a retirement situation or a long layoff before that, because you got some young guns in there. I don't know if I want to Usyk in there with some of these guys that are coming down the pipeline. But as a champ, hey, those challengers will be lining up for a payday for sure.
I have a question for you guys, and I'm just discovering this right now. To be undisputed, all you need is the 3 belts. You don't need the slew of everything.
Boo. Right? So that's the historically.
You just need 3 belts because
WBA, WBC, IBF.
So WBA, WBC, WBO. Some of them just have that. Like Canelo doesn't have the IBF, and he's undisputed.
So he's not. I mean, for me, he's not undisputed because he. Yeah. This is the 4 belt era.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like historically, there's the 3 belts, that were historic.
Okay.
And then, WBC is not the original, but it became the top tier belt. And so now that we are in this 4 belt era, put everything to rest and just take out all the champions.
So in general, Usyk is undisputed then. Because
I feel like when he won it, he attained it and unified all the belts. Yeah. And I think something happened where
the forfeit.
Yeah, forfeit.
Let's trying to find that real quick.
But so Usyk, interesting character, right? Hopping from weight division to weight division to weight division. We are talking about, does he have another 3-4 years in the heavyweight? It's interesting to think of his fighting style. He doesn't get hurt too much. That's one. I think that's the main thing that I think makes fighters fight longer. And then their styles. What do you think Usyk does to prepare to fight like Usyk? I don't think he does too much, because naturally, I think in his brain, he's a smaller fighter. He's not a real heavyweight at heart. I don't think he is. He doesn't fight like a real heavyweight at heart. But he's so fast. He has good feet. And you know what? Maybe I may take my words back. If you fight like that, then maybe training camp is a lot of cardio, and then having so big to fight the bigger dudes. I don't know how that works and how that takes a toll on your body, because really and truly, for a person his age, you could tell from, I could tell Joshua doesn't have a lot more years to fight, because to be that structure, the way he's built, to fight the way he fights, because Joshua does get touched a lot. There's so much that goes into preparing for a fight, that how many times do you have will your body let you prepare for these type of wars? Deontay Wilder, the amount of punishment he gets just to get his little one moment with his right hand. How many of those do you have? Wars, fighting King Kong, fighting Fury, fighting Zhang, where you even Joe Parker gave him a hard time. Yeah, I think heavyweight is hard.
That's heavy. It's heavy punishment. It's not an easy division.
Yeah, you may be right. Maybe Dubois is taking off, and Usyk. I don't think Usyk. Maybe Usyk may have a little bit more time. I don't think Fury has a lot of time in the heavyweight. I think Joshua maybe. We joked about the retirement thing, but I don't see it. I don't see any future in these fighters. Even
what'd you say?
Miller. I don't see Miller.
Oh, really?
I don't see it. I mean, he's fresher than these dudes because he's been shelved for a little bit of time. He's sat down and he's not been active. But I really do see the future of heavyweights as the Martin Bakoli, the Dubois. Somehow I see Usyk still in there, but I don't know.
The future's on the horizon. The future's on the horizon.
He don't
Usyk
look like
is the president.
He doesn't get punished. He never gets punished.
But you're looking at it from a mileage standpoint, and I'm looking at it from a, I don't know.
Well, you're going back to the amateurs, right? As far as
there's
boxing experience.
That's mileage too, but just the personality. I'm looking at the personality. I'm looking beyond the ring, and to say, when is this man going to be content? these foreigners have a different level of motivation. You see what I'm saying? A different level of contentment. It's also like the American dream is the American dream, right? And so that, you know, that's the driving force for American fighters. But once, you know, these foreigners accomplish what they set out to accomplish, you know, how long do they want to stay on top? What does their motivation become at that point?
That's a good point, because didn't he give up a belt? But when he became undisputed, he didn't take the mandatory from one of the sanctioning bodies, which allowed for a Dubois to have a belt, which down the line you have more excitement with a bigger fight to be made. So,
and then also there's the what's the fee associated with the governing body? You know, there's a fee that you have to pay to retain the belt. Like crap, but
yeah, exactly. I agree.
But yeah, Usyk versus Dubois. You know, if that happens, I think Dubois is going to lose that fight. But that's just my opinion. If it happens, I just don't think he has enough tools to fight that guy. That guy has been in how many amateur fights does Usyk have? He has one of the record amateur. When he's been around for a long time.
You can just assume anytime you got the Eastern Europeans that we're in the 200-300 range as far as fights go. I mean, it's a safe assumption without us fact checking it. They get it in. That's part of their system.
Is this I wouldn't do this, but I mean, it's too much money to be had. But it would be lovely if that was a co-main on the same date, and then I don't know. Is there a bigger venue where you can just try to set a national record? The heavyweights. You have both of those rematches on the same date, and then you can line up, you know, as like an eliminator. But
they have to have that fight in Riyadh.
So you're talking like you have basically a big heavyweight card.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you should, like, I'm not saying that Usyk, Fury, and Dubois and Joshua should be on the same card, but you need to set up the next opponent. Like when we talk about actually building champions, like Mayweather did that. Like Mayweather built up Canelo.
Yeah.
Because he exposed Canelo to his audience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, he knew that this guy was the future. So let me put him on my undercards, which is where I fell in love with Canelo, was on the Mayweather undercards. So take these lesser known names, put them on the undercard, build them up so you can set up a mega fight later on.
So if I'm Turkey, right, I have to create a storyline.
Exactly.
I have to first of all bring Dubois, assuming Usyk does okay against Fury, right? Give Dubois a fight where I'm like giving him a layup. Go knock out somebody quick, beat your chest. You're legit IBF champ. Now we have a storyline. I'm coming for mines. Young fighter, 27 years old. Usyk, veteran, wily, knows the ring by the back of his head. Create a storyline, and then co-main event. Whoever wins retires. Co-main event. Whoever loses retires.
Are we talking this here? We moving on here?
Yeah. I'm Turkey creating a storyline. Co-main event. Wilder. If you lose, you hang your gloves then in front of the fans and do your lap of honor. Thank them, cry your tears, do your thing, and then another main card would be Zhang versus Bakoli, the battle of the mammoth, the wily, the mammoth, big 6'9", 6'6", 6'7", exciting. You know they're going for broke. They're going for everything. And then just sum it up with who is the biggest baby. Miller versus Anderson and Bum.
Hey, I like where this is going.
Yeah, heavyweight fireworks. Let's go. Or maybe even put a Joe Parker in there just to just
No, you did good. You did good. Don't mess it up.
Joe Parker versus Joyce.
Look, timestamp this, because if these matches, that's a dream card for me. I'm locked in. I'm locked in on that. Right there. Look, Joshua Wilder, the plot twist is they both retire after the fight. I'll be standing up. I'll be standing up clapping. Thank you for your entertainment, fellas, but we're good.
Hey, Turkey's gonna have my $79.99 that day or whatever he's gonna charge. Take it.
Look, come on, Turkey. Here's for the.
It's gonna be free. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Take it. I need to see
$20.
I need
$19.99.
Yeah, take it. I want to see heads rolling, man. I want to see. I
think that card is fire. I'm not gonna lie. That would be just high entertainment value. The storyline, the face-offs. It would be electric.
Oh yeah.
I like a good fantasy card. Let's go.
Man, Turkey, if you ever need somebody to like curate storylines and just make up matches and create characters and create a heel or a babyface, hey, hire me. Hey, I don't cost too much.
He's doing a pretty good job right now. Like he's painting himself as the evil, the mad scientist, so to speak.
The star of the sport.
I love it. I love it though. I mean, we got Terrence Crawford, ringside. I mean, we got everybody Devin Haney ringside.
Didn't Devin Haney look like 180 though?
No, he looks big. But he's a bigger he's kind of like, isn't he like 5'10", almost 6 foot tall? He's not, that's why he struggles to fight these dudes. He looks like he has to like suck all the water.
Man, he was I was surprised to see him there and to see the size that he was walking around at, because I was like, yeah, that's not a 140 fighter. Yeah, that's crazy.
He's just wearing baggy clothes, man. That's all. It's just a baggy clothes.
I think Haney is fighting. I think Haney is struggling with what Roy Jones Jr. is struggling with. These are child fighters that outgrow where their weight was. Like Haney was still growing, fighting professional. Remember that. He was
17. He was 17 when he started
fighting and fighting at that weight. So as you're growing, like Haney grew taller and taller, and you still want him to fight at 45 or less than that. Like that's, I mean, he really struggles to, because and that's the thing. People say, well, he's getting big. Why didn't he get bigger? I mean, fight at a bigger weight category, and they're like, well, the power doesn't translate. I don't know. It's
barely there as is.
We would have to see it. He's listed at 5'9".
He may be like 5'10". He's tall.
He's 5'9". I cannot see him. I cannot see him going up, anything past 147. And he's still a young man. He's 20, 25, 26 years old.
26, yeah.
And he can make a lot of money there, and he can fight some fights and not take a lot of damage in that range. Like,
okay, let's break this narrative down. We know why, and maybe some people may not want to talk about it. We know why David Haney is kind of talked down to in that division. Before even the Ryan Garcia fight, we saw the Lomachenko fight, right? What were his mistakes, or what were the things that made Haney adorers or Haney fans kind of second guess their guy? Do you remember?
You saw Lomachenko was able to land flurries in that fight. I feel like Haney maybe had more clear, more power shots coming in as the bigger man. But we, as a fight fan, you never really felt like he threatened Lomachenko the way that Lomachenko threatened Haney. Just in my opinion.
But let's put it in context too, because how many guys are walking around that division with Ryan Garcia's power? Like, I mean, not so. Since we're here, they did say that Boots was going to stay at 147. They did say that. So don't expect him to go chasing the Terrence Crawford fight at 54. They're just going to let that ship sail. And I think he's going to try to clean out 47. So we're looking at the likes of, we talk about the Four Kings. I threw out Mario Barrios. And we really got to do some more research at that.
At the welterweight division, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, but it just doesn't seem we haven't really been privy to the skill being displayed that gives it would challenge boots as far as what we see with our eyes.
Because we seen, I mean, Rolly's still out there. You know, there's characters there. Rolly's there. Blair the Flair is there.
Yeah, characters, right? But
we got characters there.
Characters.
Aesop Cruz is still there. You see what I'm saying? So,
oh man,
there's some entertainment value there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's what it is. We want to be entertaining. Keep entertaining us. That's all we want.
Well, fellas, I know I don't want to end our momentum early, but you know, we had a quick, you know, what they call it, a hard stop, because our guy Kam he has other family commitments and stuff that he has to do. It was an interesting episode. I can't believe we've talked heavyweight and a little bit of other divisions. I thought this whole conversation was gonna be around heavyweights, but you know,
it'll come back.
It was a great episode.
And we don't need to beat a dead horse. You know, we'll revisit these topics and more things. You know, these situations will evolve, storylines will evolve, and things will grow legs, and we'll always have something to talk about.
As we you know, segue out of this episode, I just want to remind the fight fans that we have something lined up for you for Better Biv versus Bivol here in October. That's going to be fireworks. We'll definitely make if we have to make an emergency episode and talk about our predictions, so we could, you know, have our Sunday conversation based on what our predictions were, because I feel like that's a very polarizing matchup. You're not wrong choosing either or, but it will be interesting if we meet and sit down, come up with our points of why we choose the fighter that we choose to win that fight. What do you think, fellas?
Absolutely. You got to make it happen.
Yes. So to all the listenership, all the viewership, people watching us live right now, you already know what to do. I don't want to sound like a generic YouTuber. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's good for the engagement. Besides that, I guess it's been another episode of Who's Fighting? Kam Gee, LT.
Yes, sir.
Who's fighting?
Let's get it.